prosperous and healthy future for our families and communities. It is a vision of a future in West Virginia that everyone wants to realize in our lifetime. Improving our economy and creating new jobs is important, but the future of West Virginia quite clearly hinges on the effective prevention of child abuse and neglect. West Virginia is challenged by child maltreatment, with one of the highest rates of substantiated cases of abuse in the nation. The consequences of abuse and neglect are so high in both human and financial terms that we cannot plan for our state's future until these problems are effectively addressed. The financial consequences of abuse and neglect in West Virginia are obvious. Every year, there are more than 4,000 children in the foster care system receiving support and care services as a result of the impact of abuse and neglect. Many of these children will never be independent of their need for assistance to deal with their emotional and physical impact of their abuse. There is also no more devastating interruption in the developing potential of a person than maltreatment in childhood. Early experiences in life are the foundation for everything that comes next. Positive, nurturing childhood experiences yield good adult outcomes, such as success in school, work, and life. Toxic stressors in childhood yield negative adult outcomes, such as risky health behaviors, dependence on social programs, and economic struggle. In the past, our way of dealing with the problem has been to address it after the abuse has taken place, by pouring money into crisis programs, stiffer criminal penalties, and extended jail sentences for abusers. But none of these measures can undo the irreparable harm that is made to the brain architecture of a person impacted by abuse or neglect in their childhood. The key is to focus on prevention, putting strategies and supports in place so that child abuse never happens. It may be difficult to first picture what prevention could look like, but proven successful strategies and solutions do exist and are already in your community. Did you know that an after-school program is prevention? That a parenting or grandparenting program is prevention? Even a Little League baseball team is prevention. All of these activities help support families and give them the tools they need to be effective parents. They reinforce protective factors such as parental resilience, social connections, and support in times of need. They build a sense of community where everyone has a role to play in providing for the well-being of children.
Yay! Train. Good job, Audrey.
We can no longer afford to do nothing about child abuse and neglect in West Virginia. The cost of caring for children after abuse happens is rising and rapidly becoming unaffordable for the state. West Virginia needs to be prepared for the competitive global economy, and educational outcomes for children who have been maltreated are very poor. Other states are increasing their investments in prevention, and there are federal funds for states that are prepared to take action. Without preparation, West Virginia will miss critical opportunities to enhance the well-being of our children. So what can your community do? During this discussion, we'll consider 3 different ways to get started. They're all important, but this discussion will help your community decide the best place to begin. The first approach is to provide support and information to parents. Unfortunately, babies and children don't come with instructions. Good parenting requires skills in child development, health and nutrition, personal finance, and a number of other areas. The good news is that every parent has strengths that can serve as a foundation for building these skills. Community programs can help with parent support groups, in-home family education programs, and by connecting families to community resources. The second approach is to improve the systems that support children and families. Systems already in place do a lot to help children and families, but they also have limitations that keep help from getting to every family in need. Our current systems are limited in funding. They were created to manage crisis, not to prevent it. Changes in the system to support family strengthening rather than family crisis would be more cost-effective and yield better results. At the community level, better collaboration and planning between agencies and families can sometimes overcome some of these barriers, but not all. Although improving the system is a long-term goal, getting together a plan for changes now is the first step to designing a system that focuses on prevention. The third approach is to build communities that put families at the center. Economic development experts are learning that a community's economy cannot easily revive unless the people who live there are well. Children don't exist in a vacuum. They are part of a family, and their family is part of the community. Family-centered community building is a way that citizens take responsibility for ensuring that their families feel supported and nurtured. Grassroots efforts that create safe playgrounds, form a neighborhood watch, or establish important community programs improve the quality of family life and, in turn, the economy. They also develop the leadership and confidence of the people in the community as they become empowered to change the circumstances that slow down economic and personal growth. All of these approaches must be considered if we are to make progress in the way we approach the prevention of child abuse and neglect. The challenge is deciding where we start. How do we address the immediate needs of families while getting started on the long-term changes? What actions will have the most impact on our efforts? What is manageable in terms of time, resources, and the commitment of our citizens? What can we reasonably expect from government, schools, elected officials, business leaders, and ourselves? This discussion is a very important beginning for your community. It can be the spark that leads to dramatic changes that improve your economy and the quality of life for your citizens. The goal is to start working today on developing a community where families are strengthened, children are protected, and neighbors take responsibility for each other.